Hey guys, it's Ashley with 3R Sales and Service. Today we're taking a look at an 8-foot Deluxe skid assembly. This unit is set up with an 8-gallon-a-minute cold water pressure washer and a 5.5-gallon cold water pressure washer. This particular one is set up for a municipality, so they can have 2 guys working at the same time, or if they just have 1 guy going out, he can choose, depending on what the application is, if he wants to use the 8-gallon or the 5.5-gallon for a little less flow, a little less power. It's set up with a 200-gallon water tank. We've got 2 supply lines feeding this tank, so if they're on location where they've got 2 spigots, they can connect to both and fill that tank faster, especially while they're using both units at the same time. All of the hose reels on here, so there's 4 total hose reels. All of the reels are Titan aluminum hand crank reels. They have the 12-inch barrel on them with stainless steel manifolds. 100-foot, a 3/4-inch hose on this one. The other inlet hose is just on the opposite side of this skid. And moving down, we've got our pressure washer number 1, which is our 5.5-gallon-a-minute unit, and pressure washer number 2, which is our 8. We've got 200 feet of high pressure hose on both of those reels. The reason we use 2 different color hoses is that after you have these extended out, sometimes you forget which one is which if you're using the same color hose, so it just designates the difference between them. We've got our 5.5-gallon-a-minute nozzles on our 5.5-gallon-a-minute reel, and then our 8-gallon nozzles on its designated reel. Both pressure washer hose reels have the soap injectors connected to them. So you can see right here, same on the 5.5-gallon one, it's got adjustable injectors pulling from the 55-gallon soap tank that's inside there. Moving around, kind of get a better rear view of the surface cleaner rack. So the surface cleaner rack extends across the entire skid. It's an 8-foot surface cleaner rack on the ladder racks here. So you can stick your ladder on this side here, and then your surface cleaner secured on the other side. These are customized based on the size of the surface cleaner that you're storing in there so that it doesn't move around a whole bunch. It's also got an area over here where you can put a padlock on or combination lock so that it's more difficult if somebody is trying to remove it or take it off of your truck while you're parked somewhere. It's set up with a 30-inch Moss-matic surface cleaner, which is ideal for the 8-gallon-a-minute pressure washer. So down below, we've got our 2 pressure washers. The first one over here, which is technically pressure washer number 2, is our 8-gallon-a-minute unit, 3,500 PSI, 8-gallon-a-minute with a GX 690 engine. And over here we have our 3,500 PSI, 5.5-gallon unit with a GX 630 engine. Both of these systems are feeding off of the same fuel tank, so there's no separate fuel tanks. They do have separate batteries, so you always want to use separate batteries just so your charging systems for the engines, they won't affect one another. And then of course, if one battery goes bad, you don't have just one battery and both pressure washers down. Moving around here, you can kind of get a better view of not only the items here, but the plumbing and everything. We have both of the pressure washers hooked up to the water tank for cool bypass. So both pressure washers pull from the water tank for their inlet feed, and then whenever you let off the trigger while you're using your pressure washer, it's bypassing that water to your tank, keeping those pumps nice and cool and protected. Again, the batteries and the fuel tank, those are both pulling off of. And then here's our other inlet reel that we were talking about at the very beginning that feeds those tanks. So you can see both feed lines on top of the tank. Those have float valves in there, so it'll shut off automatically as soon as the tank is full on both lines. And then on the other side, we've got our cool bypass lines. On top of our soap tank here are just our 2 soap lines pulling to both injectors for the pressure washers. So it turned out fantastic for what this particular department needs, but it also works well in other situations. If you don't need a soft wash system, you just need a lot of water flow, you need 2 guys operating at the same time, it works out really, really well to have both washers on the same skid, especially having 2 feeds available. So if you have any questions on this, feel free to give us a call. Thanks.